Before I get started, I do want to say it is an honor here to be able to share my memories of an idol and a friend. But before I do, I'd like to invite up all of the past Willie Mack Award winners. Please come to the stage and join me. In 1980, when they announced the first Willie Mack Award winner, I was playing with the Cubs, and Jack Clark was the recipient of that award, and from afar, I thought, that's the coolest thing I ever heard of. Willie McCovey was special in so many ways. I spoke with Chili Davis last week, and we were just telling stories about Big Mac. He said, you know, when I put on the first uniform for the Minnesota Twins, I asked to be number 44. I said, why? He says, well, I wanted to honor him. And then he thought for a second, and he said, but I wanted to be like him. And that's something that a lot of people said. I know I said it in Los Angeles when I was a kid. My idol on the Dodgers was Don Drysdale, and Willie McCovey used to wear him out. And I kind of had a half-ass attitude about Willie. I mean, I didn't like him. But I wanted to be like him. I started hitting wiffle balls in the backyard left-handed because I wanted to be like McCovey. And if I hit one, I would take the home run trot, and my elbows would be high, my hands would be up around my chest where he would have them. And I thought the coolest thing was how he would get in the on-deck circle and he would take a knee. Nobody did that. McCovey did, and I did too. Can you imagine inspiring a kid in Southern California? Imagine what he did here. And that was what was special about the man. When I got to professional baseball, Willie was still playing. And as good fortune would have it, I had an opportunity to play against him. One night in Candlestick Park, runners at first and second, I think it was Darrell Evans or maybe Jack Clark. But they were in the batter's box, 2 outs, 2 on, and I looked over in the on-deck circle, and there's McCovey. He's kneeling down. And I'm thinking, oh, my Lord. Well, I walk Clark. And here comes McCovey, the guy who's got 18 lifetime grand slams, more than any other big league hitter that ever played the game. He's stepping in the batter's box. And we had a battle. And I threw a curveball down right around the inside corner around the knees, and he hit a monster shot down the line in right field. And I turned and looked at it, and I knew it was fair. But in looking down the right field line, I could see the first base umpire. He was jogging out, and he stumbled. And he didn't see that the ball wrapped around the foul pole. When it landed, it was in the upper deck, and it was foul. But when it went out, it was fair by 10 feet. And he goes, foul ball. And I had a reprieve. And I had a Willie McCovey story. Now, he struck out on the next pitch. But he looked at me as he left the batter's box, and he smiled because he knew he had me. I was number 19. We got traded to the Giants in 1982. The first guy to meet me there, as we were having a press conference, was Willie McCovey. And the first thing he said to me was, you know, you're number 19. And he called me 19 for the rest of our relationship. When I was with the Giants in 83, Mike Murphy gave me a locker next to Willie McCovey. And McCovey had Juni there. He had bats, and he wasn't even playing. He was retired. But every day he'd get to the ballpark, and he'd put on his stirrups and his socks and his uniform pants and his sleeves. He'd sit in front of his locker, and he would have this great big ham bone. Or I didn't even know what it was. I'd never seen it. Could have been a rhinoceros bone. And it was bolted to a piece of wood. And he would sit there and he would bone bats. Bats that were never going to be in a big league game. His career was over. But you talk about the presence of a veteran in a clubhouse, especially with all the young ball players that we had back in the day. Chili Davis, Bob Brinley, Tom O'Malley, Danny Gladden. And guess what? They all used that bone. They all wore their socks like Willie. And I think that's what he gave all of us. In some small way, we wanted to be like him. As he walked through life, we'd see him at the ballpark, and I think this is where he was most magical. This is where his power was. And we'd see him and Estella every day. They'd come to the ballpark. And Kipe and I would be in the booth next to theirs, and we would see the endless parade of Giants fans that came up. And they just wanted to give testimony. They wanted to tell him what he meant to them, how much they loved him. Some of them never saw him play. He lived in the stories that were told to them by their grandparents, by their parents, by their aunts and uncles, by their neighbors. It was all about the love that was given back to McCovey for all the love that he gave us. And when he walked out of this ballpark at night, or I should say when he was pushed in a cart, or when he was pushed in a bed, and you knew it was painful, he never, ever complained. Not once. You could ask him how he's doing, it would always be the same answer. Oh, I'm fine. Got a ball game, it'll all be good. But when he left the stadium, there was an endless parade of people that were giving him high fives and knuckles. They just wanted to touch him. They just wanted to tell him how much they loved him. And as I watched him be wheeled away with that attitude, I would hold my cane. And I would say, I want to be like him. Now, the fact of the matter is, we've been lucky to be able to have the microphone and tell our stories about Willie McCovey when we could ask every one of you to come up here and grab the microphone and you would have a story about how he touched you, about how you wanted to be like him. And they'd be great stories. And perhaps that was his gift to all of us. He gave us that feeling that we knew him, that he was sitting there at the dinner table, that he was part of us. You know that line with the Beatles, in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make? He walked out of here with a lot of love. Every one of us gave him a piece of ourselves. And the beauty of the man is that he knew it. We loved him. Thank you, Willie. Rest in peace, gentle giant.